Can I give examples of the concepts that you can map onto your own body in a Hermetic memory palace kind of way? I can. And especially because it's a form of play more than anything else, I think. And I hate to sound like a broken record, but I always recommend drugs. You're talking about the feelings that you feel and trying to find a name for them, I think. And that is how it went for me. The first time I took mushrooms, it helped me to rediscover something I used to know about the interconnectedness of all of us and that there is something higher going on in this world. And so that became my first personal deity, Mother Earth. Very simple, and that's the only one I would say hi to in the morning. And from there, I just kept building it out more. Um, I think one thing that's helpful is finding something to map them onto. I talked about the body for this one. I also use the four directions. I have the same map in that. And there's more than four directions as well in a lot of traditions. You have up and down, and then you have outward and inward from your own body. And each of those could be a different concept that you feel is very important to you. And it could be a deity from a tradition or your own tradition, but it doesn't have to be. It could be something like justice or social justice or the things that you wrestle with, that you've wrestled with since you were a little kid. If you go back to your early diaries, you might find the first inklings of these things. I think our diaries tend to repeat our entire lives. And so it's often a matter of you have that feeling inside of you, and now it's a matter of finding a name for it. And one that I think is a good example is my 10-degree north by northwest direction, which I got from the raw material. That is where I put Proteus. Proteus is a god of the sea in Greek mythology, and he's the one that when you ask him a question, he changes to another shape, and you have to catch him. So then he becomes a dolphin, and you catch a dolphin, you ask it a question, and it changes into a marmot, and you have to go catch the marmot, and on and onward and onward and onward until you finally catch him the last time and ask the question, and he'll answer any question that you want. And so for me, as a writer and a journalist, asking our questions is really important. And the idea of being protean in nature and being able to shift yourself was very important. And so all that happened is I already had an ocean deity feminine in my life very closely, but I didn't have a masculine side to that. And I think there's something powerful about having a masculine and a feminine side to each of these concepts that you worship, and perhaps a third gender as well. And so I was looking around for what's the male side of the ocean, and Poseidon and Triton and all those are just kind of like dicks. And then there was Proteus, who was much more mysterious and one of the most ancient of the Greek mythology oceanic figures. And I started reading more and more about the story, and I'm like, this makes sense. This is who I'm going to start saying hello to. And so it's as simple as that. Just discovering their name, saying a greeting each morning, each week, whatever your holy day is, and spending some time realizing their story, either by researching them on the web or getting a book out about them, or just going inside yourself. That's probably the better method. I tend to read because that's my Achilles heel, but probably the best way is feel into that feeling that you have, find your own name for it, and then just keep working with it. One thing that helps me is for each of my deities, in fact, there's one right here, I have a book. And so I got a bunch of composition books out of the trash of the elementary school I used to live across from. And so in this, I put, every couple weeks, months, whenever I can get to it, I do a new page with some kind of concept from them. Write out a prayer to them, usually. Draw a new logo for them, things like that. And so it is a way to deepen your relationship. And I always feel a little bit guilty because I haven't gone far enough with each of these, but that's what your entire life is for, and you take the time you can to deepen your relationship in all of these different directions. And so I think the idea of the old Hermeticism was start with a few of these and then just keep building them out. Then later you have 8 and you have a decent relationship with each of them. And I think in Hermeticism specifically, the goal was to get to 40 different deities, gods, archetypes that you really know well and you have a relationship with. So that's what I'd say about finding the concepts and ideas that work for you and then mapping them onto yourself and your world.